Hi!
Hello!
Welcome to the Lost Birds Knitting Podcast. I'm Allison, also known as Lost Birds on Ravelry, Twitter, Pinterest, and I'm Lost Birds Fiber on Instagram.
Hello, my name is Danielle. I'm also, man, I screwed it up. This is our third take, and now I'm screwing it up. Anyways, you can find me on Ravelry as Bright D, and on Instagram as Lady D Bright. And we have a Ravelry group, so come and join the Ravelry group. We have 31 members now.
Yay!
So yay for everybody. And
yes, thank you for joining the group. I love seeing new people in our group. So what are you working on?
I am working on a baby blanket for the Navy Marine Relief Society, and the dimensions are calling 3 feet by 3 feet. So it's getting close, thank goodness.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's getting a little warm to work on.
Yes.
And Okinawa and that. But yeah, so I apologize that if you saw the cat hair, because there's a ton on it, because my cat believes that this blanket is for her and she cannot be convinced otherwise.
She doesn't know what a baby blanket is. It's like, they're all cat blankets to her.
It's mine. I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah. So I've been working on that, and then I am working on my roller derby / hurricane socks, which I did some research and I found out the name of the colorway, and it's by Keegan Lane Yarns, and the colorway is called Knock 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 Penny. And so it's almost done. I just have about 1/4 of an inch left of the cuff, and then the Jenny surprisingly stretchy bind off. So there's that one. And I actually was out to dinner with friends last night, and somebody tried to purchase the sock off my needles again.
Again. Gosh.
And I'm like, these will not fit you. And then I have some stripy socks from the Knitter's Nightmare yarn, and it's the Baddie sock base in the Mother of the Universe colorway. So this one is the finished one, and I'm working on the second one, and I had to stop working on the second one because I am in need of doing a heel, and I cannot do a heel with multitasking
And talk at the same time.
Yeah. And I am a true multitasker, because normally many things going on at once. And then I am also working on Spuldic Cardigan by Hannafetic. Please forgive my pronunciation skills and how rumply this is, because you can totally tell. And so there's the lattice work down the front, and I've had like maybe an inch done on this side. But I got a little bit somewheres on the sleeve, and this yarn is super soft. And it's the Cashvero DK from Cascade Yarns. I am kind of worried about it pilling some, because it's kind of starting to pill while I'm working on it. The fiber content on this is wool, cashmere, and microfiber acrylic. So I was hoping that the acrylic would hold things together a little bit more, but apparently not.
Yeah.
And apparently I'm also having a touching the hair day, so forgive me on that. Make it a drinking game or something.
Well, I am still working on the same projects that you've seen the last couple weeks at least. Sorry, I'm boring, but here's the progress I've made on these socks. I'm going to use up the yarn, so they might be knee-highs. I've still got a little bit left. And then I'm also working on the pendulum still. But I think I'm almost done. It's I think it's more of a shawlette, and so it's not going to be a huge shawl or anything. There's supposed to be 5 stripes of each color, and I have 4 of each right now. So almost done with that. And I might make it a little bigger than it calls for if I have enough yarn left over. I'm not sure if I will. But that's it. That's all I have. Those are my projects. So, did you go off course?
I didn't go off course unless, in terms of like screwing stuff up, unless of course you count trying to get the cat off this blanket.
Yeah, I didn't go off course either. So
hey,
yay,
alright.
good week. So that brings us to our bird's eye view, which is our overview of the week. So what'd you do this week?
I didn't do a whole lot in terms of like being out and about. We had knit night on Monday night, which was a pretty good attendance.
Yeah, definitely.
So we have a couple new people there. What's her name?
Lindsay and
Angelina.
Angelina. Yeah.
Angelina. Forgive me, I suck at names. Anyways, and then my boss came back from her vacation, which was really nice. You could tell that my work team just missed her, because like she has a kind of an infectious laugh, and she really makes the place like a good place to work, and just kind of everything's just a little bit more lighthearted, and you kind of know that she has your back, you know. So our offices are facing each other, and they're made out of glass. So it's really nice to not stare at an empty office anymore.
Sign of a good boss when your employees miss you.
Exactly. And she was only gone for a week and a half, so.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday, I was able to attend my first roller derby bout. And so that was really cool. Like, I unfortunately don't know all of the rules to the game, but I was able to pick up a lot of it from, just watching. But at the same time, like, I'm really new to watching the sport, and you could tell, and I could tell, that the refs were kind of being one-sided. So I'm like, I can only imagine, people who are very familiar with the sport were feeling, and naturally there was like, some like rawr yelling going on, and and emotions are high anyways at a roller derby bout,
yeah.
But it seemed pretty intense. But it seemed like so much fun. So and I was talking to my husband about it, and I'm like, how would you feel if I was doing roller derby? He goes, I don't know. Are you gonna kick my butt? I'm like, not planning on it.
No, because you take all your aggression out at the
exactly
at the bout, and then you're super sweet and at home, right? So you got to tell them.
There you go.
With lots of bruises, though.
Yeah, lots of bruises. I'll learn how to balance myself more and maybe not be as clumsy. One can only hope.
Yeah.
But anyways, how was your week?
My week was good. I had my first ultrasound.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say, I saw there was pictures over here
there
somewhere.
were, yeah.
Did I bury them?
They're back there.
Pictures!
Yeah. Ultrasound pictures. You might not be able to see the little blob in the middle there. I mean, I don't know if I can get close enough, but there it is. Yay. So my husband was able to go. He was able to get out of work. Actually, surprisingly enough, that day, every once in a while, they have these kind kind of morale days where their duty station is somewhere other than work, basically. Like when we lived in Misawa, northern Japan, once in a while they would get to go like skiing or something. Sounds crazy, but
it's just like a work team building day.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's well, and then this is something they do every year. They so the day that I got the ultrasound done, it was also I forget what they call it. It's
like a family fun day or something.
Well, it's like the Olympic. They call it the something Olympics, and all the guys get together and they do these like competitions. So, yeah. So he was able to go to the hospital with me, and then afterwards we went to the Olympic thing, and they do it at the beach, and it's really nice. It's fun. So I did that, and then what else? Oh, yesterday. So I live in a Japanese neighborhood, and at the end of our street, we happen to live by the community center for this area, so it gets used for a lot of events and things, and they happen to be putting on a small festival like at the community center in the big parking lot that they have there. So, and I'm not sure exactly, I don't know what the festival was called even, or what it was for. I think it was for a certain organization was putting it on, maybe even as like a fundraiser or something, but there were lots of performers. So they had a big stage set up, and they had taiko performers, and they had asa performers, which is the, like, more specifically to Okinawa, taiko. Taiko is the Japanese drumming. And I put a little video of that on, just very quick video on Instagram of some of the taiko. And we dressed Emrys, my 2-year-old. We dressed him in his little jinbei, which is, it's like, it's a matching set. It's kind of got this kimono top and shorts, and it's sort of like a kid's version of instead of wearing a kimono or something, kids often wear these jinbei. I think they have adult ones too, but anyway.
I would say putting a kimono together is very complicated.
Yeah, and actually in the summertime they don't wear the kimono. They wear the yukata, which are the kimono are often made of a heavier weight fabric, and they have more layers to them. And then in the summertime you wear yukata, which are usually cotton or a thinner material. So anyway, yeah, that was fun. We went to the festival, and it was awesome because it's literally like 3 houses down. So it was nice. Yeah, we ate festival food, yakitori, and they even had like corn dogs and shave ice. And what else?
AKA snow cone.
Yakisoba
for people in the Midwest.
Yeah, it's kind of like a snow cone. Yeah. Anyway, so those were my exciting events for the week.
Hey, all right.
Yeah. So now we last week we started to touch on a question that True, the artsy knitter, asked us. She wanted to see some examples of our spinning, and maybe any suggestions about good books on plying. And we weren't quite prepared. We mentioned the question that we were going to come back to it this week. So we have both put together some.
I'm going to say I packed up like a chunk of my stash and brought it over here.
Yeah, we've put together some of our own handspun to show you guys, and I have a book that I'll show you too.
Okay.
But why don't you start?
Okay, so I started spinning in 2012, and this is my first spindle, my first and only spindle, because as I mentioned last week, I was not very good at it. I kept dropping everything, and then you can still see some of the first handspun in there. It has definitely lost a lot of twist. But I love the spindle. It has etched acrylic on the top of it. It's very light, and that might be part of my issue, that it is light versus, you know, like a regular Turkish one. So I just essentially did a 2-ply on this, and then I made it into an infinity scarf. I can't remember if I used size 15 or size 19 needles to make this up, but you can definitely tell, like, where I started getting thinner versus my first attempts over here.
I love that, though. I think that, I don't know, I think some of the most interesting yarn is, like, people's first attempts.
So we'll put that on just for fun. My second attempt was this bulky weight. It's a little bit more consistent. Again, it's the, what the hey do I want to say?
The Ashland Bay.
Yes, Ashland Bay Hollyberry. It is definitely on the thicker side. I have no idea what to make with this. And then I'm trying to determine which one of these were my third. I'm pretty sure it's this one. This is Highland Handmaids at Polworth. Unfortunately, I can't remember the colorway, but it's, you know, some blues and yellows, and there was some fantastic barber pulling in there.
Were these all on the spindle, or had you
no,
gotten your
I'm
wheel
so
by
sorry.
then?
I got my wheel right before I started this guy.
So that was spun on the wheel.
Right, so my only spindle spinning was what I'm wearing. Because I was like, I've had enough. Thank you very much. So yeah, there's that. And then this little bit here, again, it's Highland Handmaids. It's a 2-ply. And I know this one is called Baby of Mine in the colorway out of a Dumbo reference. But there's some fantastic barber pulling and that sort of stuff in here. This is just a little chunk of what I have left. I made my mom a cowl out of it for Christmas last year.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Luna.
Cameo.
She was trying to get water. Anyways, and then this one was next, and this is also Ashland Bay. I can't remember the colorway name, but it's just like a heathery brown.
These are all 2-plies, right?
Yeah, these are all 2-plies. Because, you know, like, I'm apparently partial to that. I am, you know, monotechniquing it. So there's that one, and then my very next one was this guy here. This is Miss Babs in the in a merino bamboo silk, and I ended up getting a fingering weight out of that. The fiber really spoke to me, but the yarn is not speaking to me so much.
I like it.
So I love the colors because blues, you know, like blues are my colors. So I might stick it in my Etsy shop just for funs.
You have a good memory because I don't see labels on any of these.
And you're very correct. I don't really do labels, unfortunately.
But you remember.
Yes. I can't remember the colorway on this one, though.
Yeah.
This one I remember. This is also 4 ounces of Polworth. It ended up coming out to a fingering weight. And this one's also from Highland Handmaids. And it's called The Chaos and the Noise, I believe. And it's Robert Frost. It's a poem reference. And then my latest one you guys have seen before. This is the rest of those are all 2-plies. This one is a 3-ply, and it is just the Ashland Bay and the Hollyberry. Again, and it ended up being a fingering weight to a lace weight. It's on a little bit on the scratchy side. I think I might have overapplied it in some areas, but I'm gonna say we'll figure out what to do with it.
I definitely see your progression from. I mean,
The super
you
bulky
literally
weight.
went from bulky all the way down to like
Lace weight.
Yeah, they got thinner and thinner and more consistent. So I can see what your goals are. It's interesting to see the progression.
So yeah, that was my pile of handspun.
Okay, is it my turn?
It is totally your turn.
Okay. Excuse me while I grab my big.
I was gonna say that was a lot of talking for me. So
Yeah. I'll show you my first spindles here too. And my lap is full of stuff. This was my very first spindle, and it's a very lightweight top whirl, just wooden spindle. And I spun a few skeins on that. This was my first hand spun yarn,
really
but
consistent.
I knitted it up into this, like, it's supposed to be like a neck warmer cowl thing. The purple was a different yarn, a commercial yarn that I added, and it has buttons. So anyway, this was that was my very first spinning. So there it is, and I did that on this spindle, spun it and plied it. And
you are a more patient person than
I. I didn't like how lightweight this spindle was, actually, because I felt like it didn't spin for long enough. I wanted it to spin longer so that I could keep drafting. So I got a really inexpensive Turkish spindle not too long after I learned on this spindle. So this is a Turkish spindle. It has the 4 arms, and then when you're ready, let's see which one
comes apart.
Oh, well, you take it off of the dowel, and then this arm slides out, and then you can slide the other arm out, and you're left with the ball that's that you've made by winding it onto the arms in a certain way. And this is actually you can use this as a top whirl, or you can, when you take the arms off, you can flip it around and use it as a bottom whirl if you want. So, and you'll notice this one doesn't have a hook. So what you do is see if I can find the end here. You do like a backward
Backward loop.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be able to do it. Crap. Sorry. Well, you do like a backward loop thing here, and I don't know that you probably can't even see it from here, but it holds it by tension, basically. So those are the 2 spindles, and I did a fair amount of spinning on a spindle before I moved on to my wheel. I actually spun this yarn spun and plied this on my Turkish spindle, I believe. And when I plied it, I did I mentioned this sometime before last week, maybe, fractal plying or fractal spinning, and that's when you split the roving in half, like lengthwise, and then one half you spin in a long color change, and the other half you split further, so that when you spin it there are shorter color changes, and when you ply them together, it ends up, the yarn, you can't really tell in the yarn itself, but this is something that I've started knitting, and you can kind of see, maybe you can't see, we're too far away from the camera this week. This is part of an octopus that I'm making, by the way. Anyway.
But there is some, barber pulling in there.
There's some barber pulling, but what happens is it kind of turns into this interesting gradient when you knit it up. I know it's hard to see, I'm sorry. So anyway, that's fractal spinning, and like I said, I did that on a spindle. Then I have some other examples here. So I like to experiment, and I like to try lots of different things. So I'm not going in chronological order here or anything. I'm just going to show you examples of different techniques that I've tried. I showed you guys this one already. This was a thick and thin that I spun. This was my like second or third attempt. Here was my first attempt at a thick and thin. And it is much less consistent and much more
thick.
Yeah, it's more on the thick side. There aren't as many thin spots. I like it though. I still like it.
I like the colors of it, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's a little fuzzier.
Sorry.
But it's okay. So those are some thick and thin yarns.
It's on vibrate today.
Yeah. These are mostly wools that I've dyed myself as well. Just getting that later. These are core spun. So what you do is you have a core running through the yarn basically, and then while it's spinning, you're spinning the core, and then the wool that you're drafting, it's caught onto the, thank you, it catches onto the core and wraps around the core. So
what did you use as core?
I used a couple different things. I've used, and I'm not sure which is which on this, but I've used, I'm bad at labeling too. But I use crochet cotton. I've used that as a core, and I've also used, out in town, it was a local yarn that I found. It was like a Japanese yarn, and it was just this fuzzy, it was really fuzzy. I thought it would be good to catch the fiber, and it was like an acrylic mohair mix or something. So it was just really fuzzy. So yeah, and I really like core spun yarns, but they for me anyway, I'm not as practiced with it as some people, but it takes me a long time to core spin. It takes me longer to core spin than to spin singles or anything like that. And I think it should. I mean, I think that's typical. This one is actually, it has a ton of sparkle in it. And I actually, this is core spun as well, but on the core I strung beads first. So I had beads hanging out on the core, and then while I was wrapping wool around the core, every once in a while I'd pull up some of the beads and wrap those onto the core too, and kind of spin those onto the core. So every once in a while you find these, you find a few sections of beads. So that was fun. That's more of an art yarn. I'm not sure what to knit it into.
If you use seed beads on that, do you think that the yarn would that wool would just cover it up and it would be kind of pointless?
I mean, I think it really depends on how you do it. Yeah, I think seed beads might be a little bit too small. They might get lost a little bit. There are other ways to add seed beads to your spinning.
I've heard.
I haven't tried it, but you can ply them in, kind of, is what I've heard. Yeah, these are bigger beads. With core spinning, there are a lot of, you can add a lot of different things, and there are different techniques for it. Jazz Turtle, who is Esther Rogers, she does a lot of crazy core spinning. She's very interesting. She has some good tutorials too if you look her up.
Oh yeah, I saw one of her fiber videos on Instagram recently.
Yeah, she's very much in the art yarn genre, I would say. So anyway, those are some coarse spun. These are just regular 2-plies that I've done. This is not yarn that I dyed, or not wool that I dyed. This is yarn hollow. But I think all the rest of these are ones that I've dyed, and some of them are from bats, some of them are just braids.
Was this one 2 different braids?
Nope, same one.
Oh, okay.
And then these are some big chunky ones that I've...
That just looks like the best pillow ever.
I know, this one's super chunky, and I really want to make something cool out of it. This is actually, it's merino. The green blue is merino, and then I've plied it with a white silk single. So I spun, I spun a white silk single to ply it with. So anyway, it's super chunky, thick and thin. This is this is another chunky one, and it was a bat, and then I plied it with a single of black bamboo. So, and then
the
this
colors on that look just cool.
Yeah, this is one that I kind of mixed just some natural wool with a bunch of colored wool, bats and things. I think it was a bat. And so lots of barber pulling going on there, but I like it. It's a chunky yarn. So there you go. There's a bunch of examples. Oh, I have some of it. I have a few examples of stuff that I've knit up too. So I showed you this one. This was my first yarn, and I made it into a little neck warmer thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is another. I tend to knit a lot of cowls out of my Handspun because it's like,
you don't really have to worry about gauge too much.
Yeah, and I think like oftentimes you don't end up, or at least I don't end up with a whole lot of yardage to make a huge project. So here's a bandana cowl thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
are these patterns
this
at
is
all?
this is like an infinity scarf. The bandana cowl is, but I can't. It was like a pearl Soho, or what am I? The Pearl Bee. I think it was on that blog, maybe. Anyway, then this is just a infinity scarf thing. So, yay! So there you go. There's lots of handspun. Oh, and I have this. Oh, one more. Sorry. Here's another infinity scarf.
And it's just moss stitch.
Yep, just moss stitch. So, and then here's the book that I mentioned last week. It's Spinning and Dyeing Yarn. It's by Ashley Martineau, but she has articles in here from a lot of different fiber artists, and she has examples of yarn from a lot of different fiber artists. And this book is interesting because it covers a large range of topics. It's spinning and dyeing yarn, but it's there's a section in here about how to make your own spinning wheel. She makes her own spinning wheel out of PVC. She talks about different kinds of wools, you know. She talks about a lot of techniques. She talks about washing wool, building a drying rack, how to care for wool, and prepare it from a from the raw fleece. She talks about different tools and equipment. I mean, it's not super in depth in any of those topics, but it touches on a lot of different things. It's a really good like overview, I would say. Although the techniques that she goes over as far as spinning are more of art yarn techniques, more of textured yarns. I'm trying to find a good example here. Oh, and she has articles or sections in here written by different people. So here's there's a section by Lexi Boger, who is like the art yarn lady. She is, I mean, she practically started it. So, and I think there's one in here from, I don't want to say it without finding it, but there are articles in here from other people, not just her. She talks about drop spindle, making a kick spindle, making a drop spindle, core spinning, fancy plying, she calls it. And that's like, it's this kind of coil plied here. Fancy. Yeah. Thread wrapping. I mean, she goes into a lot of, she talks about adding beads into your mixed media single. There are lots of techniques in here, and then she has some gorgeous, there are lots of gorgeous photos in here. Oh, here's an article by Michelle Snowden. Choosing a spinning wheel, building a spinning wheel, spinning thick and thin. I mean, it goes into a lot of different techniques and topics. So this is a really good book for to get an overview of a lot of different things. And it's gorgeous. The photos in it are gorgeous. So there you go. Spinning and Dyeing Yarn by Ashley Martineau. So that concludes my my yarn spinning section for the week.
All right.
So do you have any bird calls?
So I've found a new yarn dyer called Knitterly Things, and right now she's doing some Halloween-based yarns. And I am all about the fall. Like, fall is my favorite season.
Yeah.
So I am like, give me the pumpkins, give me the the fall colors. I'm all about that.
I really do like fall colors too, yes.
So that's my bird call is
Okay.
Knitterly Things.
My bird call is just to all of our new members. Again, I'm so glad to have you guys, and I want you to know that I do notice. I notice every single one of you, and I go look you up.
In a non-creepy way.
In a non-creepy stalking way, yes. But I do try and check, everyone out and see what kind of projects you do and where you're from. And I think it's really interesting, and I'm so happy to see new members. So thank you. And I didn't get any mail this week, did you?
I totally got mail.
You did?
I've been on the naughty side in terms of mail things. So I got some bags from the Silver Shed USA. This one is kind of a comic book based one, but it is Phineas and Ferb with Perry the Platypus, of course. I'm all about Perry the Platypus being, I secretly want to be a secret agent. Anyways, and then I have a little notions pouch here that I just kind of want to carry. Like, I want to have something like in my purse or in my backpack that I have all of the notions and such, because I'll change out project bags and I'll forget a pair of scissors or whatever else.
Yeah.
So this will now be hanging out with me every day, and this is little raccoons.
So cute.
And I love how thick these things are. There is some serious interfacing on these guys, and so and the person is from Iowa, so I have to support that.
So who is that again?
The Silver Shed USA.
The Silver Shed, okay.
And it's the silvershedUSA.etsy.com.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
Yay mail.
Yay mail. Well, this week also in the mail I got my very first violin. So if anybody has any tips and tricks for playing the violin, I have yet to receive a lesson or, have any violin natural talent. So let me know if you have any tips and tricks for playing the violin.
All right.
So do you have anything else?
I don't, and I'm glad that this is a shorter episode. So I'm going to end it here.
We were talking
before
really
we
fast.
ramble too much more.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you again for our new members and our returning members. So returning viewers. All right, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great week.